All right. Welcome to the show. It is Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. AJ DeLesio is here.
Yo, Capitan.
Freddie Garcia is in the house.
Hola.
Yeah, Freddie bringing the heat. And we got some MMA to talk about over the next hour. We're going to talk some boxing as well. We usually just stick to mixed martial arts. But I think the biggest story in combat sports this week is Tyson Fury and the big victory that he picked up on Saturday night over Deontay Wilder, a 7th-round TKO, a corner stoppage, the corner throwing in the towel for that fight. AJ, I don't know what you're doing over there, but just be careful with everything you're doing, all right? AJ is here, and, AJ, he's a wild man. You never know what he might do. AJ picked Deontay Wilder last week when we were previewing the fight. Freddie and I both picked Tyson Fury. He was the underdog. All the experts were picking Deontay Wilder, but of course, Freddie and I are the true experts. We know what's up, and we saw Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight the first time. We knew that Tyson Fury was the better fighter. We knew that even though it was a draw in the first fight, Tyson Fury really won that fight. He should have taken home a judge's decision, but in boxing, you really can't leave it up to the judges because you never know what they might do. And this fight on Saturday night, I'm very happy about because we saw a decisive finish so many times in big boxing fights, big marquee boxing bouts. We go to the judges' scorecards, and a lot of times we get screwed by those judges' scorecards. We get a weirdo decision, right? And this time, it was clear who was the better man. It was Tyson Fury. He is the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, and he looked fantastic, and I really like that fight. We're going to talk about that a little bit more at length here. We're also going to preview UFC Norfolk. Is it Norfolk or Norfolk? I think it's Norfolk.
I thought it was Norwalk, but anyway.
I think it's Norfolk in Virginia. Like, I'm not trying to say a bad word here. I think like they don't pronounce it Norfolk. I think they kind of have an accent on it. But purposes of safety, we're gonna say Norfolk, just to be safe. It's in Virginia.
You try to slip it in. I know you.
Norfolk. I don't know. I think that's how they pronounce it. Is all I'm saying. Fred, thoughts?
Faulkner.
I don't know, man. They're in Virginia. Joseph Benavidez is in the main event. He's taking on Davison Figueiredo, a Brazilian fighter, 32 years of age, 17-1 as a pro, with 8 of those 17 wins by knockout. A very dangerous flyweight taking on a guy who's been in the flyweight division since the beginning. He was in the first ever flyweight title fight against Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. This guy has been a top contender since the inception of the flyweight division in September 2012. So, a guy, Joseph Benavidez, who's been in the game for a very long time, and he's got a new kid on the block here in Figueiredo trying to take his top spot and maybe his title shot coming up against Henry Cejudo, who is the 125-pound and 135-pound champion in the UFC. I think the winner of this fight probably fights Cejudo for the championship, but they're going to have to wait a little bit because Cejudo's going to be fighting Jose Aldo next at 135 for Cejudo's bantamweight championship. So kind of tough when you have these dual weight champions like Henry Cejudo or Amanda Nunes. Kind of causes a logjam in either division. But hey, these things happen when you have great fighters. Felicia Spencer is going to take on Zara Fain dos Santos, and a fight I'm really looking forward to, Jan Kutalaba taking on my guy, Magomed Ankalaev. I've been telling you about this guy for a while. I think he's got a very bright future, 27 years old, from Dagestan, Russia. He's a big old light heavyweight. He won his last fight with a front kick to the face. It was very impressive.
Crazy.
He's a good fighter. I'm impressed with this guy. He does have a loss to Paul Craig in his UFC debut. Since then, he's won 3 straight. He's still a young guy. I think there's a lot of promise in this guy. I've got my eye on him, so I'm happy to see Magomed Ankalaev back in the octagon coming up on Saturday. We'll give you the betting odds, and AJ will tell you if he thinks Magomed is the future.
Is he the next Johnny Walker? That's what I want to know.
Is he the next Johnny Bones Jones or the next Khabib Nurmagomedov?
Yeah,
That's
but
what
he's
I'd
got to
like
get
to
through
know.
that whole pocket there, Dave. Let's be honest.
He's not undefeated like those two gentlemen I just
But I
mentioned.
must say he is impressive. There's no
He's
doubt
good.
about it.
He's good, and I like to see him tested here. And Jan Catalaba is definitely a good.
beast.
He's a good test for him. But Magomed Ankalaev coming in right now minus 220, the favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he is a favorite going into that fight. Some other good fights on this card as well. I also want to talk about Ryan Hall.
Yeah,
he
right.
did an interview this week. He's a great jiu-jitsu fighter. He is undefeated in the UFC, an Ultimate Fighter winner, and no one wants to fight him. Apparently, all the top guys in the 145-pound division have turned down fights with him, and he's starting to call them out. He did an interview this week with ESPN where he said, no one wants to fight me, and I'm trying to get a fight with a big name in the UFC. He wants Frankie Edgar. He wants, Jose Aldo. He wants top guys at 145 pounds. He wants Brian Ortega. He wants the top guys, and I think he deserves one of these shots. So we'll try and figure out what the next best step is for Ryan Hall because, we all like Ryan Hall. We're all jiu-jitsu guys here on the show.
He supported fights for charity. He was one of our refs. He's come to Montreal. He was part of the Abu Dhabi jiu-jitsu scene. This guy is a super nice guy. I met his family and everything. I must say, you know what? It doesn't make sense that he's not getting a fight. He should be in Norwalk or Norwick or whatever wick it
Norfolk.
is. Norfolk or Norfolk, whatever it is.
Virginia.
Yeah,
AJ,
exactly.
We're on the radio, too. Take it easy.
That's what I said, Norfolk. Did I say that?
You said it.
That's exactly. So
You're
why
good.
aren't they getting a guy like this on their card?
And
because if you look at that card, sorry, Freddie, that card is not spectacular at all. There's other than maybe 2 fights. And you know what I noticed? And somebody mentioned it. They go, most of those fighters on that card are not even on a Wikipedia page. There's 2 fights that are part of a Wikipedia page. Come on. You know, Ryan Hall should be there, and most people may be afraid to fight him. That's what I think at this point.
Well, when it comes to Ryan Hall, I don't know if he wanted to fight on this card, but he should be fighting a top guy because, like Dave just said, he's been successful. So why deny him? Let's set up a fight for him. Somebody accept it.
Well, look, he called out Ortega. That's one thing that I heard, and I think that would be an amazing fight because Ortega, his jiu-jitsu skills are over the top, and Ryan Hall is considered probably one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in MMA right now, next to some of the Gracies.
As far as just attacking with jiu-jitsu, I think he's the number one.
I think so.
Right? There's Damian Maia is kind of slowing down. I think his career's, nearing its end. He's in his 40s now. You don't see him fight as often as you used to. Ryan Hall is kind of a throwback where he's just doing jiu-jitsu. He's really kind of pulling guard, looking for a leg lock, kind of sitting on his butt, trying to attack your legs, and that's all he's doing to you, and no one's really been able to stop it.
No, but his stand-up
the
game was
BJ
actually...
Penn submission was amazing.
It was incredible. He beat BJ Penn, who was
Very
considered
quickly.
one of the best submission artists of the time back in those days.
Yeah, but that's washed up BJ Penn.
Yeah, but still, that's a BJ Penn that you submitted. Let's not forget that. And you know what? Honestly, if you look at Ryan Hall's stand-up game, it wasn't so bad. He actually had some really good striking.
Look, I'm all for him getting a top fight. He deserves a big fight. You mentioned Ortega. That's kind of a tough matchup, I think, for him because if anything, Ortega has the jiu-jitsu to grapple with him. And Ortega's more of a MMA fighter. He's more of a complete MMA fighter than Ryan Hall. But look, I'm a big fan of Ryan Hall. I want to see him against a big name. Anybody, just give me more Ryan Hall.
But Ortega would be amazing because people would come out to see that fight. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. I'm just saying it might be a tough matchup for Ryan Hall because I don't see him imposing his jiu-jitsu on a guy like Ortega. But, hey, I might be wrong. Ryan Hall is elite jiu-jitsu.
He might be able to catch him, though.
Yep.
He might be able to catch him.
His
and that's the thing with Ryan Hall.
Man, that's it.
His leg lock game is ridiculous, and it's very tough to stop. Now, it's possible to stop, but, it's kind of like when guys were fighting Husimar Paul Harris back in the day. When Toquinho would grab a hold of your leg, it was over, and that's really all he would do. He would grab a hold of your leg, and, at least with Ryan Hall, he lets go when you tap out. Husimar was not as nice.
No, and the problem with him, with Falaris, is that he had a bad reputation, in jiu-jitsu, in MMA,
everywhere.
Like
he had
his
a bad
sparring
rep.
partners. I mean, he injured more people than you can imagine, and it's unfortunate because he had a really good game at one point, and because of his craziness, and I can't recall who he fought, but I think the ref was trying to stop him and he busted the guy's ankle or something like that, or his knee. And that's the problem with Falaris, is he was just a hothead that threw away probably a good career. But I know him from the jiu-jitsu scene, and there was a lot of things on him, and nobody wanted to train with this guy, because when he was kind of like, we're talking about boxing in a few minutes, it's like, kill or be killed.
Yeah.
This guy would go into jiu-jitsu where you have that option to tap. People would tap, and unfortunately, he wouldn't let go, and he ruined a lot. I know for a fact he ruined a lot of careers of guys that probably could have been successful. So
yeah, he was amazing. Like, his skills were fantastic. Great jiu-jitsu player, amazing leg locks, really talented guy, Paul Harris. But he was mean, and he snapped. He didn't let go, and he hurt a lot of people very badly. But Ryan Hall, not that type of guy. Great jiu-jitsu, great leg locks, but he's going to let go when you tap out. Very smooth, very nice the way he just slides into the heel hooks and everything that he does. It's really fun to watch for me. I love leg locks. I'm a big fan. I like to do them myself, and I love to watch Ryan Hall to see what he does, and it's beautiful. His game is ridiculous. The 50-50 guard, he's a master at it. He really is. And I would like to see him get a big fight in the UFC. But I'm looking at the rankings right now, and we could take a look at them together here. We have Alex Volkanovski here, of course, who is Le Champion of the 145-pound division. Then you go down at Max Holloway, number 1 ranked. He's probably going to wind up getting a fight with Volkanovski. That fight is going to happen right there, rematching. It's happening. AJ, you can like it or not, but it's going to happen. All right? He's giving me a face over here. Well, you don't like that? You don't want to see the rematch between Volkanovski and Holloway? Why not?
No, I want to see.
It was a good fight, and it was really close. Volkanovski took the decision, but didn't Holloway go fight him in Australia too? Like, come on, man, give Holloway a fight. I think it's going to be in the U.S.
Let's see Holloway fight.
I know they are fighting. I think the fight is like nearly official. But then you have Brian Ortega, second ranked. Now, to find Ryan Hall, you got to go all the way down to 13.
Which doesn't make sense.
Right? Ryan Hall.
13th, yeah.
He's ranked 13th. So I think a fight with, maybe Calvin Kattar or Josh Emmett or Jeremy Stevens or even Moicano. Apparently, Moicano turned him down.
Well, probably because he knows him from the jiu-jitsu scene, for sure.
But, he was talking about Zabit or Brian Ortega. But like Fred said, I think that may be a little bit too much, because if Brian Ortega and Zabit are ranked 2 and 3 and Ryan Hall's ranked 13th, well, maybe a fight against like Shane Burgos or Calvin Kattar or something.
That makes sense.
More sense. I think Calvin Kattar would be a perfect fight, because he's coming off that fight with Zabit where he looked really good. He didn't win the fight. He lost by decision. But he's still impressed a lot of people. He's 10th ranked in the world. Hall is 13th. If Hall can get a win over a tough guy like Calvin Kattar, then you step into the top 10, and then you can take a fight with a Zabit or a Yair Rodriguez or Frankie Edgar or Brian Ortega. I think maybe he's a fight away from getting that, but it seems like a lot of these guys are just turning down the fight with Ryan Hall. Like, he's calling out the top of the division right now because the guys that are ranked near him are just turning down fights. Like he said, Renato Moicano, he turned it down. He didn't want none.
I don't think, like, you mentioned Ryan Hall. I think he's ready for any of these guys. I just think, like, Ortega might be the worst of the matchup, but all the other names, like, I think Ryan Hall's ready for a Zabit.
I don't know about a Zabit right away.
Put him against a Chan Sung Jung. I think Ryan Hall would fare well. I'm not saying he would win, but I think he'd be competitive.
I think he'd have trouble standing up.
But he'd probably need to fight a guy who has a name.
He wouldn't want to stand up with any of these guys. So
he'd be forced to, though. I mean, you're forced to. The fight starts standing up, and if a guy, if you sit on your butt, the guy's got to move forward and let you grab him. He could just stand back, and the referee's going to tell you to stand up.
True.
Like Ryan Hall can try and pull different things, but there are ways to avoid going to the ground.
Well, it's worked for him as of now, so I'm not going to doubt him.
But you can look at the Gray Maynard fight where, it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't.
But he outstruck Gray Maynard in that one. He proved that he was able to still
Exactly. He's able to stand up. That's why it'll be great to have a fight, maybe against somebody like Frankie Edgar, where people know Frankie Edgar. He's an exciting fighter. And you know what? That would be a name to say, Ryan Hall beat Frankie Edgar. Now we're talking. It's time to move on to the top 5.
That'd be a tough one. That'd be a tough one.
Did Frankie lose his last fight?
To the Korean Zombie.
Because
he got knocked out.
Yeah. So right now, Frankie,
But he took the fight on short notice.
Yeah, and you got.
But if you were to lose to number 13 Ryan Hall, that would hurt Frankie. So I could understand why Frankie's not really interested. But hey, as a fan, I'd love to see it. Ryan Hall against Frankie Edgar, that's a good fight.
And you know what? When it comes down to the UFC is that when most fighters start like tweeting out or start like pushing their call and saying, you know what, I'm not getting that fight. And then all the media starts talking about, you know what, what's up with Ryan Hall? How come he's not fighting? All of a sudden, Dana White comes out of the blue and boom, Ryan Hall's fighting maybe in about maybe a month from now with a Frankie Edgar.
And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it, because people in MMA are talking about it a little bit now, but it's good to kind of keep the word going and keep pushing for Ryan Hall and keep the buzz going for Ryan Hall, because I think he's a really talented fighter who does deserve a big fight, and the UFC should maybe try and get him one with some of the top fighters there in the featherweight division. I like the guy a lot, and hopefully, we get to see him. Him against Frankie Edgar would be a great main event. You look at the main event for the fight nights we're seeing lately, you had Jan Blachowicz versus Corey Anderson. It was all right a couple weeks ago. Last week we had Paul Felder and Dan Hooker. As far as a main event, Frankie Edgar is a former world champion. That's the type of main event I'm looking for. This weekend you got Benavidez and Figueiredo. It's like, yeah, okay. But I would rather see Ryan Hall fight in one of these main events than any of these guys, right?
You see, like, as far as the Benavidez-Figueiredo fight, they should have almost put an interim title. Like, usually the UFC is so quick to put interim titles, and now you have a guy in Cejudo who's not going to fight as a flyweight for at least, 6-8 months. Why not have an interim title right now?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're right, Freddie.
You're not wrong.
Freddie, you're right.
I don't know why they're not doing it.
Well, the reason is because there's not a lot of stars in that division, whereas, the other divisions, they see them as more full of stars, so there's somebody to put the title on. But come on.
They don't care enough about this to make it a title fight. But
they're still keeping it alive.
They don't care enough about the flyweight division to make an interim flyweight title fight, because nobody's really kicking and screaming about, how come there's no flyweight title fight? Like, when's the last time Henry Cejudo defended his flyweight championship?
Did he ever defend it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he ever defended. He won it, and he then defeated TJ. Or TJ went to 125.
TJ went to 125.
Yeah.
He defended it once against TJ Dillashaw in 2019, January 2019. It feels like a very long time
Mighty
ago.
Mouse, right?
It was only a year ago. He did, yeah.
That's when he won it.
He won it by beating Mighty Mouse. He defended it a few months later against Dillashaw, and then he beat Marlon Moraes to win the vacant UFC Bantamweight Championship, because TJ Dillashaw was the Bantamweight Champion, but then he tested positive for EPO and was kicked out of the sport for 2 years, so they had to vacate the Bantamweight Championship. So Cejudo got a shot against Moraes for the vacant title, and he won that, and that was Cejudo's last fight. And now he's going to fight Jose Aldo, who's coming off 2 losses?
Yep. I think so.
But I think Aldo won his last fight. Like, the decision didn't go his way, but a lot of people felt he beat Marlon Moraes in that fight in December, right? Yeah. Like, Aldo fought Volkanovski before that. He definitely lost to Volkanovski. But the Moraes fight, he lost by split decision. It was his bantamweight debut. People felt like he won. I felt like he won. The 2 of the 3 judges felt like he lost, so he lost the fight. But despite that, he's still getting a title shot, which is weird. It's weird, but it's not unprecedented in the UFC.
Well, as soon as it was talked about, I was against it. With that said, it's Jose Aldo. He's a big name, so they're gonna bank on that. But I feel like they're helping Cejudo make a name for himself by defeating, a Jose Aldo that's not at the elite level that he once was. So
yeah.
We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Look, Jose Aldo, he's still capable of pulling out a performance that makes him champion, but I'm going to pick Cejudo on that fight.
But, if we're going to be honest here, Henry Cejudo, he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's a 2-division world champion. He's one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time. He's trying super hard on social media to get noticed. And it's not really working. He's not really marketable. And if you put Henry Cejudo against Davison Figueiredo as a title fight and a main event or even co-main event of a pay-per-view, it's not going to move the needle. It just won't. Jose Aldo fought Conor McGregor in a legendary fight. People know Jose Aldo. He's a former world champion. one of the greatest featherweights of all time. I'd say the greatest featherweight ever. And he's a guy that I want to see fight. Davison Figueiredo, I don't think I really have taken notice of him until right now because he's fighting Joseph Benavidez in a main event of a UFC card. So if it's between guys like that or Jose Aldo, even if he's coming off a couple losses, I'm good with Jose Aldo getting the fight because Henry Cejudo is going to be on pay-per-view. Henry Cejudo is going to be in big fights because he's a two-weight world champion. So if I'm going to see big fights for Henry Cejudo, I want to see him fight guys I enjoy watching fight, like Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I'm not against the fight. Look, I would not have given it to Aldo the title shot, but if Cejudo wants to be a bigger star, I would tell him he needs to be more active. I think he was fighting some injuries in the last year, but you see, we mentioned a year ago in January, that's over a year ago, he won the title, and since then, he's only had one more fight. Like, you want to be a star, be active, finish some people, win some big fights. You can't become that. Only Conor McGregor became a huge star with his mouth. Most of the big stars in this sport have became stars with their performance, like in the cage.
Well, Conor had some pretty impressive performances.
Also,
and he talked.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to back it up.
Exactly, it has to be.
Masvidal as well too. I mean, he spoke just like Conor, probably went just as crazy as Conor, and then sometimes he got like some.
But he's
lucky,
winning now.
But he got some lucky breaks, like knocking out Ben Askren with like a couple of seconds that propelled him to the top even more.
That's not
Why are you
lucky.
taking things away from George Masvidal right now? What are you doing?
He knocked him out.
Conor, man, let's not forget who he is.
Okay,
he's Conor McGregor.
No one has ever forgotten who Conor McGregor is.
I didn't diss Conor. I'm just saying if Cejudo wants to become a huge star, he has to do it by being impressive in the ring. He won't do it by being like corny on the internet by calling Aljamain some name and Jose Aldo.
Look, he beat
Jose
Demetrius.
Waldo.
Let's not forget, he beat Demetrius Johnson. Man.
Yeah, Fred, I got to say, I am pretty impressed with what Cejudo did. We just kind of forget because it's been a while, but he was a 125-pounder. He beat Demetrius Johnson, who's the greatest 125-pounder ever, who was undefeated, who was just incredible, right? He beat Demetrius, stopped his title reign, and then beat a guy on EPO, TJ Dillashaw, who was a really good fighter and was cheating and was on performance-enhancing drugs during the fight, right? Still beat him, and then he went up 10 pounds to another weight division and knocked out Marlon Moraes. Like, Cejudo's pretty impressive, man.
Oh, his resume is great. We're talking about his stardom, though, and I'm just saying the fact that he only had one fight in the last, 12 months is maybe why, his star is not rising quicker. He's a great fighter. I won't deny that. I think he's the legit champion at 135 and at 125, and you ask me, I think he defeats Jose Aldo. He has the good style, like the wrestling. He's going to bring Aldo to the ground, I think, and make it a long fight for Aldo.
Ooh, he's going to Brazil to fight Aldo, though. You fight
Props
Brazil.
to him.
Brazil Aldo is different, though.
He's got the crowd behind
that.
him.
Like, the power of Brazil behind Aldo is a different story.
That's true.
Aldo in America is like, okay. Aldo in Brazil is unstoppable. Has he ever lost in Brazil? Oh, yeah, he lost to Volkanovski in Brazil. But, man, Cejudo going to Brazil to fight Aldo. UFC 250, May 9th. Damn, I didn't know.
Cejudo trash like Brazil as well?
I didn't know it was in Brazil. Dang.
Well, that's a lot. You gotta give him credit, man.
Cejudo's going all out. He's not scared.
He's not, and I thought
you go to Jose
Brazil.
Aldo's home country in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Ooh. You fight Aldo there. Ooh.
So you know what? Maybe the trash talk.
Hola.
Maybe if Cejudo continues the trash talk and defeats Jose Aldo impressively, that helps him. Build a little persona, a little bit of stardom behind him.
It should. Let's go, Henry Cejudo.
Let's do it, Cejudo. Put on the crown and get there.
Triple C, whatever he's calling himself.
Champ.
The champ.
The champ.
Triple C.
All right.
But Dave, not to jump, but going back to the flyweight, what kills me the most is a guy like Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse. Unfortunately,
should still be in the UFC.
He should still be in the UFC. If you want to get that flyweight division back up, you got to get Mighty Mouse back. Mighty Mouse has to come back.
Can we trade them back, Ben Askren?
Yeah.
Exactly, Freddie. Good point.
Yeah.
That's like
it
a
was
Canadian
a trade, right?
It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
It was a trade. It was the UFC had the contractual rights to Demetrius Johnson, and they felt like, he lost to Cejudo. He's kind of run his course. ONE FC had the contractual rights to Ben Askren. They were kind of done with him. So they traded. They kind of released both guys and let them sign to either company. And, I think Demetrius ONE FC definitely won that trade. In hindsight, you know.
But you know who lost?
Can you tell me a single fight that Demetrius won in ONE FC? Remember,
but
you remember his opponents?
No, but
Exactly.
he's fighting good guys out there.
Yeah, but who cares? The bottom line is Freddie's right. The thing is that Demetrius Johnson was a star in the UFC. People knew him regardless what division he was in. He was in the flyweight, where most people get forgotten in boxing. They don't know who flyweight champions are. But in the UFC, they did. And now, you're right. He's gone to a one championship. And who has he fought? I don't know. I can't remember.
But who cares? Because if you're Demetrius Johnson, the bottom line is the bottom line.
No, the bottom
line. And he's making more money in ONE FC than he was in the UFC.
Listen,
ONE FC offered him a better deal, and he took it. More money to fight easier fights.
Big
You got to
deal.
be stupid not to take that.
Big deal.
You got to be an idiot.
You know what? Dana White has to do everything he can
AJ, I'll tell you
to
what.
get back Mighty Mouse.
You could fight Khabib Nurmagomedov for $50 or
Fight Khabib for $50?
I'll give you $1 million to fight Fred. What fight are you taking?
Well, we can go half-half, Freddie. We did technically fight, so just so you know, last week...
What fight are you taking?
Well, I'm gonna go
I mean,
with
Fred,
sure.
no disrespect. But like he's getting $1 million to fight you.
But wait,
And
hold
this
on a
is
sec. No,
and this
hold
is
on.
what
Let
I'm
me
saying,
refrain.
AJ.
Let me refrain.
You got to use logic
No. Actually,
when you're negotiating fight contracts.
I just thought about it. You know what, Freddie? I don't want to fight you. I want to fight Khabib for $50 because people around the world that want to know who the heck is this AJ, and I'll get sponsored by everybody. Gatorade, First Aid, whatever.
No.
I'll
You're not getting
get
sponsored. No, I'm telling you. $50 is all you get. You're not allowed sponsors. It's the Reebok deal. Okay, you get nothing. You get nothing.
Khabib gave
get
a guy.
you
Listen,
get
Khabib gave a
$50.
guy $50 to do push-ups. I think it was a homeless guy in like Dagestan.
AJ, I
think
think you're missing my point.
My point is this: we need Mighty Mouse back, and that's the point.
Exactly.
And
I was gonna say if we get back to Mighty Mouse, like he has a win over Cejudo also, so he's 1-1 against Cejudo.
Yeah, I'd like to see the trilogy fight. But the UFC doesn't care about the flyweight division enough to keep Demetrius Johnson around. They don't care enough that he is the greatest champion in the division's history, one of the greatest champions in the UFC history, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, the most impressive MMA fighter I've ever seen as far as skill and technique. I don't think I've ever seen a better fighter, pure pound-for-pound fighter, than Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. He's still one of the best going. He'd still be a star in the UFC, but they don't care enough about the flyweight division to pay him what he's worth. So he went to ONE FC where they care and respect about Demetrius Johnson, and he's getting paid. I don't understand what your problem is with a guy getting paid, AJ. He's making money, and the UFC is not willing. Your beef shouldn't be with Demetrius Johnson.
It's not my
Your
beef with
beef
Demetrius.
should be with Dana White.
But that's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying that we got to hype it up on our show so Dana could hear, and the rest of the MMA
Maybe
fans.
if you pronounce his name right, he might listen to
No,
you.
he says it the same way I say it.
No,
Dana.
he doesn't.
Sure, he does.
No,
Dana,
he
Dana.
doesn't.
First of all, you know, and I know most of Ireland agrees with me.
No,
Actually,
they
all
don't.
of Ireland agrees with me.
No, they don't.
They'll be like, "No, Dave, it's called Dana. You should know this." Only in the States they call it Dana. Ah, Lord.
We got to take a break.
Potatoes.
We are gonna give you our picks for the Figueroa Benavidez fight. We're also going to talk about Tyson Fury and his matchup last weekend. What's next for Tyson Fury? Should he fight Wilder again? Should he fight Joshua? Should he fight
Brock Lesnar?
Ruiz? Should he fight Stipe? Should he fight
I think we need to
Mike Tyson? Should he fight AJ?
Yeah.
I think we need to make an important correction. Somebody on the chat mentioned that this weekend's fight is for the vacant flyweight
What?
championship.
Oh yeah, it is for the
and
vacant
it is.
interim. You're right. Who
It
said
is?
that? Who was
Yeah,
the
it
person?
is.
Give him credit, Dave.
There's
Jake McDonald.
Jake McDonald, you're right.
Yo, seriously?
You're
This is
hired
for
on the
a
Ringside
title?
Report.
I had no idea this was
I
for.
thought I saw something, but hey.
This is a vacant Wow.
Me
you're
too.
right.
I thought I saw something, but then I was looking at this Wikipedia card and there was no mention. But yes, after a little bit of more searching.
So Cejudo was stripped?
Way to go, Jake.
No, Cejudo vacated.
He just gave it up. So he's not going to fight at 125 anymore? Is that it?
Maybe he can't make weight anymore.
So
That's
this-
the thing. Too many hot dogs.
So this is the vacant championship.
Oh, but why hold up the division? Like, if he did actually just vacate it, that's good.
So then this makes a good case for Mighty Mouse to come back, Dana.
Well,
Do it.
It just shows that now the flyweight division is even more devoid of stars because they lost Henry Cejudo, probably, right? Like if
In
he's
some way, yes.
if he's vacating the 125 division, it's like when Conor McGregor vacated the 145 championship, moved up to 155. You never saw him fight again at 145. I think probably making the weight. I know Cejudo had a lot of problem making the weight in the past, so maybe he just decided to give it up, and he found success at 135, so he's going to stay there.
Well,
Wow.
look, I've been.
So this is a title fight between Benavidez and Figueroa.
But in the past, when we talk
Figueroa.
about GSP, I've always said, who cares if he wins the title and vacates it? So it's the same thing for Cejudo. I've got no issue with him just saying, like, I'm not going to defend this title. Let other people fight for it. If Cejudo's not going to fight at 125 for a while, props on him to just say, like, yeah, I'll let other people.
But
When is the last time a title fight was on a fight night? And this is in
It's happened
good
before.
point.
This is in Norfolk, Virginia.
with a very, very not great card.
It's a world title fight on a week.
Look, we might have
card.
listeners in Virginia, man.
Yo,
Come on,
Virginia
man.
is
Be a
for
little
lovers.
nicer.
We love Virginia.
Look, I'm not. Virginia is for lovers.
It is
right?
for lovers. That's
Like,
why we should be there.
I like Virginia. I've been to Virginia.
Have
It is
you?
a lovely state. However, it is not Madison Square Garden. It's not New York City or Las Vegas, Nevada. It's not a place where you have big fights. I'm not disrespecting.
Benavidez and Figueredo, man.
Look, if this fight was in Montreal, our hometown, I would also be like, what's this fight doing in Montreal? This fight should be in Vegas or something. It's a world title fight.
and get Yoni Sherbatov to get in there.
But
We need
no,
him.
it's just a fight. I'm more surprised that it's not even on pay-per-view. That's why I didn't think it was a title fight, because it's a fight night. It's not a title
So
fight.
it's a last minute thing. That's what
weird.
it comes down to. But you know what? It gives it a little bit more like interest into
No, it's
watching
good. It's
this
a
fight.
title fight, but man, it shows you how much they care about the flyweight title. No other world championship in the UFC will be contested on free television in 2020. Guarantee. Okay? I am telling you this. This is a fact. There will be no other world title fight non-pay-per-view this year from the UFC. Do you doubt that? Do you guys doubt that, really? Other than the flyweight title, maybe the next defense of this flyweight title on free TV? But I don't think... Cejudo's going to be fighting on pay-per-view against Jose Aldo. Amanda Nunes, her fights are just on pay-per-view. You think about the champions. Come on. John Jones, you imagine him fighting on free TV? You imagine Stipe for the heavyweight title fighting on free TV?
But you know what? Actually, Dave, you got a point. And you know what? You never know with the UFC. They said George would never come back, and he came back and smashed Bisping. You never know with the UFC. But what I think is interesting, what you're saying is maybe a division like the featherweight, which has a hard time being a main event for a pay-per-view, which tends to be maybe like in one of their cards, maybe that's a good way to start bringing up that division so that people can watch this fight.
Flyweight, you mean?
A flyweight, I should say.
Featherweight is Max Holloway,
Yeah, sorry, on a
Volkanovski.
flyweight, I apologize.
I might
On
take you on
flyweight-
that bet, Dave, because the last time a title fight was, I think, is in 2019 in August when Jessica Andrade lost her title to Zaylee Wang.
Ooh, yeah, but that was in China.
What, that's not a real title?
No,
That-
it's a
that's
real
right.
title. But it's a real title, but I understand why it was a fight night, because it was in China, and you're not going to
It
sell.
was the time. It was the time
You're
difference.
not going
and
to
all
sell a
that.
pay
Now
per view.
we're getting technicalities.
No, but
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what?
yeah.
But again, that makes sense.
But look,
that makes sense.
That was
for viewership. Man.
That was the big fight for Zhang Weili. Jessica Andrade was the new champion. Zhang Weili won the title, and now she's going to fight Joanna on pay-per-view for her next title defense, which is coming up March 7th, by the way. Next Saturday night, it's going to be Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Zhang Weili for the UFC Strawweight Championship. And then the main event is going to be Yoel Romero challenging Israel Adesanya for the middleweight championship of the world. Good God almighty, that's going to be a good fight. And we're going to be doing a UFC watch-along for that pay-per-view. You can watch the pay-per-view with us on the YouTube channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and when you subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time we're on. RingsideReport.net for more info on everything that we do. We're going to take a short commercial break here for the radio show. When we come back, though, we will talk about Tyson Fury. We'll also give you our picks. Who's going to be the next UFC flyweight champion? It's pretty big. Apparently, it's a title fight now. Late breaking news here by Freddie Garcia, breaking the news. And
Jake McDonald.
Jake McDonald.
thank you.
Yes, Jake.
And also, I want to get your thoughts. Did Paul Felder really lose to Dan Hooker last week, or was that some hometown cooking? We'll talk about that when we come back. It is Ringside Report. Stay with us. Yeah. What are you... I can't believe that's a title fight. It's so under the radar. It's crazy. I can't believe it.
Listen,
and
guys,
you know what? I'm like barely going to be watching that show because AEW Revolution is going to be on at the same time, and I'm going to be watching that, and I'm going to be doing a watch-along for that AEW Revolution right here on the YouTube channel. Check it out. I'm going to be here. Big Johnny North is going to be here. My brother's going to be here. We're going to be watching AEW. We're going to see Jon Moxley challenge Chris Jericho, Le Champion, and all sorts of other stuff. Pac against Orange Cassidy. You got to come watch this, AJ. You down?
What is it, this Saturday?
Saturday night, baby.
I'll have to let you know.
Let me know.
AJ's busy
That means he's
nowadays.
not coming. AJ's busy. AJ's got a little baby. AJ's got things to do.
You know, I'm gonna say one thing, Dave.
Say one thing.
Back to the fight night thing. I think it's a great idea for flyweights to like fight on Fight Night free TV. I think it's the best way for people to know them. And
Talking
you went
to your
back,
mic.
Am I talking to the mic again?
You're over here.
Because I'm like, I forgot that we're on intermission. I'm trying to
but
be like,
you can still talk because people are still
no,
watching.
but now I'm feeling like stiff. You're making me stiff.
You're
now.
right.
I can't get my.
I'm making you stiff.
You're
Take it
making me
easy.
stiff. So listen to this, Dave.
Oh,
Am I looking at the camera?
I don't know. Are you?
Am I? Listen. So what I'm trying to say is, think about it. Wei Li Zhang, who knew her before? Jessica Andrade, we know her, but most people were like, don't really follow her.
Fred's
but
got a
because
point.
it was that fight
It could
night,
be strawweight title. Could be on free TV. Strawweight title.
It's happened before also.
let's do
If
it.
Zhang Wei Li beats Joanna, her next fight's probably gonna be against Rose Namajunas or something like that.
It's gonna
I don't
be
think it's gonna be. It's gonna be pay per view.
For
I
that,
don't
yes.
honestly. I don't think we see another title fight other than this flyweight fight on free TV this year
I don't know, man. I think it's a good idea if they go that way. I think those
for
divisions
flyweights.
For flyweights,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
saying
it's
flyweight.
good.
Look,
the next flyweight
yeah,
title
but
fight
I
might
mean,
be on free TV.
Joanna,
but only that division.
Right.
I mean, Joanna and Wei Li Zhang.
Wei Li Zhang.
Wei Li Zhang. They're on the pay-per-view, but they're the co-main event. Like, I'm not sure if they're the main event of a fight card if it's not a UFC fight night.
No,
Like-
but you could stick them as a co-main event on a lot of pay-per-views, and it's a
Or-
really solid co-main
Or
event.
as a solid main event for, like, we were asking for better main events for these fight cards. This makes it better.
Yeah.
Wei Li. She's had a rough ride the last 3 weeks because of this whole coronavirus thing. Did you know that?
I mean, I don't know what's been going on with her, but I guess she had to leave China, right?
She had to leave China. She made her way to the U.S. to start training for her fight, and it's been like really hard. She says it's been like a nightmare. But the thing is that it makes sense. I mean, when you think about it, there was the one championship.
This coronavirus, man, it is no fucking joke. It is no joke.
Listen,
it is
man.
getting crazy. I was watching the WWE
Drink
show
Budweiser.
in Saudi Arabia today. Half the audience had masks on.
But it's not going to do anything if you don't wash your hands.
Look, I don't know, man. People are freaking out. Like, people are freaking out over there.
Give me the Purell. You got Purell on you.
New Japan, they had a tournament coming up. They canceled all their shows from March 1st to March 15th. They
I think it's
canceled
a, good idea.
whole tour.
I think it's a great idea.
Because they're like, nope, too dangerous. And this is in Japan. It's not even in China. And what else? They're also thinking about canceling the Olympics.
What?
The Summer Olympics are going to be in Japan this summer. And they may
maybe
cancel them.
by the summer they'll have like
Well, they have like
some cure
I
or
think they
something.
have 2 or 3 months to decide. And it's possible by I guess March, April, May. I think maybe May if things aren't kind of settled down, if things are still pandemic levels like they are now, they're going to cancel the Olympics, man.
You know what they should do?
It's really bad.
They
Like,
should-
how crazy is that? Imagine
that's
that.
insane, man. You know how much money lost there will be? That's insane.
I'll predict the Olympics go on.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
pretty
that's
sure.
a safe bet.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet.
The
I think-
dancers are ready.
I
Everybody's
mean,
ready
there's
for
so
that.
much money, but I mean, look, if it's really dangerous, you don't want to expose athletes to coronavirus.
According to Diego Sanchez, all you got to do is get his coach. He'll give you some nose oils and everything, and the coronavirus is gone. So Diego Sanchez knows the cure.
Diego Sanchez is bananas.
He's a human being now. He's no more a UFC fighter.
Yeah, UFC fighters are human beings.
Not to him, accordingly.
Well, I'm an extraterrestrial.
That I believe.
Okay, I am
That
not
I
a
believe.
human being.
Freddie,
We are not the same. I am a Martian.
then I want to recognize myself as I don't know, as
we are not the same.
I want to recognize myself as a pine tree.
Supreme Commander.
What?
Supreme Commander.
You never watched Third Rock from the Sun?
I mean, I kind of did, but I don't know.
Actually, there was that alien movie called Paul. That was a good one. Remember that one?
No.
You don't remember Paul, the alien?
I remember Mars Attacks.
That was like one of the best alien movies. Paul.
Independence Day, and so on. All right, let's tell you about our friends over at Stitcher or IP Vanish. Let's do IP Vanish first. We'll talk to Stitcher after, all right? IP Vanish. You want to go to vpn.ringsidereport.net right now. Now, the reason for that is you need yourself a VPN. When you're on the internet, you need to stay protected. When you are on your device, be it your phone, your tablet, your laptop, if you're on public internet, you need a VPN. Otherwise, you're definitely going to get hacked. All right? I'm not saying 100%, but I'd say 90% you're going to get hacked if you don't.
High?
Yeah,
Wow.
if you don't, I mean, I don't know what the actual numbers are. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But I'm saying it's a serious concern and you should be concerned about it, okay?
You're making me concerned.
You need to worry about your safety on the internet. This is a current concern, man. Everybody knows that if you're using public Wi-Fi, people can get into your device and they could hack your information. They could find out whatever you have on your phone. Do you have sensitive information on your phone, AJ?
I do, actually. I'm looking through it.
Well,
very sensitive.
You need a VPN. What you need to do is go to vpn.ringsidereport.net to sign up for IP Vanish. Now until Saturday. This offer will end on Saturday. You can get 67% off an annual VPN subscription with 250 gigs of free SugarSync encrypted storage.
SugarSync.
And you can get all of that for as low as $3.99 a month with a 1-year plan of IP Vanish. You want secure storage. You want to keep your phone or your tablet or whatever you're doing on the internet secure. You need a VPN. vpn.ringsidereport.net. IP Vanish. It's what you need.
Man, you made it so scary. I need it now.
Well, the internet is a scary place, man. If you're not protecting yourself, seriously, if you're using those public Wi-Fi spots.
I do it all the time.
Well, people could easily hack into your device.
Yeah, but I do that at work. It's a public domain. So you're saying at work I can get...
Yeah, I mean,
like other
you're
than Ringside
working,
Report.
People are coming and going. If they log into that Wi-Fi, they could find a way onto your phone and they could get information from you. They could steal a lot of stuff from you. You got to be careful, man. And I know you're always
I'm hanging out
taking
with
pictures.
Harvey Keitel and that kind of stuff. It could be scary.
Yeah, man. You're in high profile situations with celebrities. You're a very famous guy. You have very sensitive information on your phone. You need to be protected. AJ.
Not Harvey Weinstein kind of stuff. Not at all. Not that stuff.
A Harvey Weinstein.
Not at all. Let's be clear.
Convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein.
Or what's that other guy that...
Right, he went to jail. Is he in jail right now? That piece of shit.
He got like two counts on rape charges. So I think he's in there for at least 50 years.
I heard he has a walker to sell, practically not use.
What?
Because you didn't.
Really?
No, but you didn't see him get to the.
Yeah, he's like on the walker.
All of a sudden he became.
fake.
All of a sudden he's crippled. Like
all of a sudden he can't walk.
Oh yeah.
This guy better be in protective custody, man. He's gonna find himself Epsteined.
Yeah, that's it. I was trying to think Epstein. That's it.
Yo.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something with Weinstein. I mean, yeah, I know with that whole walker thing. I was looking and I'm like, man, that does just like it looks so fake. It's unbelievable. And he made the face and all that kind of stuff.
I just wish somebody would just kick the walker out from under him and see if he falls.
Or get like I don't know, a Hooters girl to walk in front of him and see his reaction.
That blubbery whale looking motherfucker.
But he must have been like, didn't he make some like good movies? I
don't know, man. I don't.
Who cares?
I mean, so what?
What happened to this guy? What's up with these guys? Why do they take their power to like crazy extremes?
I don't know,
Why
man.
can't you be like a legend like Harvey Keitel? He's awesome. Such a nice man. Why can't you be like that?
I don't know, man. Some people can handle power and some people cannot.
What are they? All Darth Vaders?
I'm glad you don't have any power.
What are you talking about? AJ does.
I don't think you'd use it for like creepy ways,
Well,
but
you
I
never
just
know.
think like it would be bad for it'd just be bad if you were like a big powerful guy with a lot of money and
Well, it
like
could happen
a lot
soon.
of fame.
Well,
it
we
would
do
be
have fame.
Yeah, I know. It's already getting to your head. Like when I met you, you weren't like this.
What? What are you talking
It's
about?
more like it's more, right? Right, Fred?
No.
Don't you think Don't you think that now that AJ's on the show and people recognize him and they're like AJ and like there's like you kind of have a following and you kind of have fans.
It's hard because sometimes I go to Harvey's and I did get stopped. They're like, "Hey, aren't you AJ?" I'm like, "Yeah." Say hi to Dave Simon. I'm like, "I will."
Yeah, it goes to your head a little bit.
It does. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy being a celeb. You know, but you know what? I'm going to tell you something. That's what you get with the Power Ringside Report. I wonder, like, if Joe Rogan, when he goes out, does he get attacked and, like, heckled and that kind of stuff? Which he did, by the way. I saw, actually...
What are you talking about?
Like, I'm saying Rogan is a mega star.
Yeah.
Okay? We're not too far behind.
Well.
Okay, but the thing is that somebody like Rogan, I mean... It must be hard. Think about it. He can't do anything anymore.
Well, it's hard for every celebrity. Come on, man.
You spend so much time thinking about Joe Rogan. It's a little strange.
I think he's awesome.
Do you listen to his show?
All the time. I was just I was listening to the Faraz Zahabi, like, which I think it took
Why
place
are you listening to that?
Because I wanted to hear what Faraz said. Because me and Freddie learned the technique last week. So me and Freddie did a jiu-jitsu seminar, which was awesome. Me and Freddie were working together. It was a lot of snap, crackle, and pop for jiu-jitsu. Not the cereal. There's a lot of snap, crackle, and pop.
I heard
between
your
the two
knees
of us.
are busted, AJ.
They're busted, man. Jiu-jitsu ears, I got jiu-jitsu knees. But
are you all right? Can you move around?
I could. It's a bit rough, you know.
Yeah,
but, but the thing is
AJ's busted up.
No, listen to this. What was I getting at? I was trying to make a point on.
Come roll with me, AJ. I'm going to stretch you out.
No, Freddie was awesome, man. We were learning some really good techniques, man. It was really, really good. Freddie, where was I going with this whole thing?
You were going with Faraz or something.
Oh, yeah, the Faraz.
We learned
we learned a technique, a guillotine that Faraz is part of his arsenal. And it was actually pretty, like, Freddie knows. I said, you know what? Faraz had a pretty good technique there. So going back to Joe Rogan, I was listening to his interview and he was talking about all kinds of stuff. And then some of it I was like, you know what? Faraz, that sounds a lot of stuff that we said on our show. So if you don't believe me, go back to the Joe Rogan Faraz show and look at some of our stuff that we said.
So now you're accusing him of
taking some of our
stealing
stuff? Yeah.
You accuse everybody of taking some of
this
our stuff.
This is AJ's opinion.
Yeah.
Me and Dave, we don't believe that at all.
Not at all.
Why not?
Not at all.
Well, kudos to Faraz for the awesome guillotine technique.
Yeah.
It was a great guillotine.
It was a very...
AJ,
we can't show it,
you really do think, like, every show you listen to about, like, MMA, because they're talking about MMA, you're like, they're ripping us off.
Well, they did the bagel. They ripped our bagel thing. That was pretty...
Yeah, because nobody mentions the bagel guy.
On a bet?
Kenny Florian is a noted plagiarist. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm telling you, man.
He has stolen stuff from people.
Especially from Dave Simon.
Like, honestly, I would not be surprised. I don't think it's true. AJ thought Kenny Florian ripped off of a bet on bagels.
Yes.
For some reason, he bet on bagels too, which is kind of strange.
Come on, man. Who bets on bagels other than Ringside Report? Yeah. What is that, Dave?
It's your cell phone, and you have the show running on your phone for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I was saying something to Johnny North about the coronavirus.
Why are you on the chat?
Give me the phone. No. My mother might call.
Yeah, well, not during the show. You're not allowed to answer your phone, so I just confiscated your phone because you're a fucking child.
Because it's part of IP Vanish.
Okay,
it just got vanished.
Let me get to Stitcher.
Oh, yeah, Stitcher. We got to do our
Yeah, could we get back to Stitcher and then the show and then so on, please? AJ?
Sure. Stitcher, go
D'Alessio?
ahead.
Anthony?
How long is that Stitcher ad
I'm
going?
stitching.
Oh, okay. At the Ringside Report Network, we've been producing podcasts for a long time, and many of you have been using Stitcher to stream or download our shows, Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report MMA. Stitcher offering you the Ringside Report universe as part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Besides all of our shows, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo, or in your car on demand, ad-free with Stitcher Premium. You got AJ's favorite show, The Joe Rogan Experience, Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, and many more shows, Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, much more. Just $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year. What you want to do is go to Stitcher.com/premium right now. Stitcher.com/premium. Use the promo code RINGSIDE. You'll get a free month of Stitcher Premium.
Wow.
Sign up today. Stitcher.com/premium. Promo code RINGSIDE.
That was it? That was a short commercial? Usually it's longer.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, okay. If you say so. Stitcher.
I want to get back to the show. Okay? Can we get back to it?
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Tyson Fury.
Oh,
God damn it.
guy.
All right. Let's do it. All right, welcome back. It is Ringside Report. I'm Dave Simon. Fred Garcia is here. AJ DeLesio is here. We are up to all sorts of hijinks during the commercial break. If you're listening to us on the radio, you're missing out. There's a lot more to Ringside Report. Ringside Report live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. You can watch us on the YouTube channel, and there's stuff that goes on during the commercial breaks that you can check out on the YouTube channel as well. You can watch this show. You could also download the podcast if you're on the go. You want to listen. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spotify. We're on all the things where you get your podcasts. Just search Ringside Report, Wrestling Uncensored, or go to ringsidereport.net and you can download the show directly there on our website. We're going to be live Saturday night for AEW Revolution. Definitely check us out for that, a big pay-per-view from All Elite Wrestling. And then the Ringside Report crew next Saturday, March 7th, will be live for UFC 248. It'll be Israel Adesanya taking on Yoel Romero in the main event, and we will be live watching those fights 10 p.m. Eastern next Saturday, March 7th. We'll be live on the YouTube channel with you watching that big UFC pay-per-view, and we'll be live on Saturday night, this Saturday night, watching AEW. We've got everything covered for you here. We've even got a little bit of boxing. Tyson Fury dominates Deontay Wilder last Saturday night. Fantastic performance from the Gypsy King, heavyweight champion of the world. 7th round TKO victory for Tyson Fury. Used his size, used his weight, clinching up Deontay Wilder, leaning on him, making himself heavy, slowing Wilder down, and just landing punch after punch. Big, heavy hands, knocking Wilder down a couple of times in the fight, and then eventually finishing him with a barrage of punches in the corner. Wilder's corner, threw in the towel, and that was it.
It was the right decision, I think. Wilder, the first was complaining about his corner throwing in the towel, but that was the right decision. Like his ear, from what I've read, it was just like a cut on his ear. It wasn't his eardrum, but his ear was bleeding a lot. He didn't seem to have his legs. Like from a couple of rounds there, his legs looked shaky. He looked on wobbly legs. So I had no problem with the finish. It was a great fight. It was very entertaining. Boxing did a good fight, a good job promoting it, and the fight delivered in the end. So, as far as a fan, I was very entertained with the product that they gave me, and it was fun.
Look, I'm going to tell you, it's very, very rare when you see like a longtime champion getting outclassed and outboxed. So I got to give it to Tyson Fury. I mean, he made Wilder look like he wasn't even the same division. It was like two different classes altogether. It's true, I chose Wilder, and a lot of people did, and I really thought that
Most people did,
and the reason why
not Fred or myself, we both had Tyson Fury. Okay,
but you know what? Like a lot of people, like first of all, Wilder's first fight. Let's not forget he knocked down Tyson, and Tyson was out. He was looking at like Happy Planet wherever he was, and he came up like the Undertaker, which was a miracle. Because the truth of the matter is, a couple of more seconds, and Wilder would have got the knockout. So a lot of people were taking that fight saying,
"What are you saying there?"
Sorry, Fury.
But I mean,
knocked out.
Fury. but once Fury got up, he won the end of the round.
He did, but that's what I'm saying is it was a miracle that he got up. His eyes rolled back. When your eyes roll back like that, and you're out on the canvas, chances are it's bedtime for Bozo.
It did look like he was out in the last fight. You know, I don't know what round it was. The 12th round, right? It was the last round. You know. It looked like he was out there. When he got dropped, it was like, oh, it's over, but then he just pops back up to his feet. And I thought he still won that fight, despite the fact that he was nearly finished at the end. I still thought Fury won on points. I thought Fury was the better fighter, and I thought Fury was the way better fighter on Saturday night. Like, people were saying, oh, Fury's fat, he's coming in heavier, and Wilder's coming in heavier, and it's a good thing that Wilder's coming in heavier because he's going to be even more powerful, but it's a bad thing that Fury's coming in heavier because he's fat and he's not in shape. And I was like, okay, we'll see about that, because I see one guy that's like 270-something pounds,
272,
and the other guy's like 230, you know?
Yeah, it's
man,
like 40 pounds
that's
difference.
A big difference, and the height difference too. Fury is
it was
big
a 2-inch
boy.
difference. It was a 2-inch difference in height. That's
Fury called his shot also, because for the whole promotion, he kept on saying, I'm going to fight him close this time. I'm not going to fight him in the on the outside, which a lot of people thought, like, you're sure you're going to do that? Because, I mean, Wilder, if he connects with you, you could go to bed. But, hey, Fury brought it the way he said, putting his weight on Wilder, and I think that was a big difference also, that every time, like, he would put his extra 40 pounds on the shoulder of Wilder. And in the end, that has a toll. Like, we do grappling, and trust me, when a guy has 40 pounds on you and you have to carry it, that's a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
Yeah, and that's a lot of weight just in jiu-jitsu to, like, get somebody off your back or on top of you on full mount. But when it comes to boxing, you have that weight and you have that reach that carries through with a punch. And at 273, wherever Fury was at, I mean, there was a lot of weight behind his punches. And I agree with you. A lot of people are saying, he's coming in heavier. It's going to make him a slower fighter. You know what? It's just that the thing with Fury is that he has a new coach. He came in and he did the right steps. Whatever he did.
More aggressive.
He was more aggressive, but he knew how to fight Wilder to a much better extent than he did in the first fight.
Well, he said he figured it out in the 12th round.
And it proved.
After he got knocked down, apparently he started pressing forward and Wilder was backpedaling. And, Fury was saying, like, I figured out that he's not really good when he's backing up.
Because he needs that space to hit that big shot.
That's it.
Once he's close, he's not as refined as Fury.
So Fury kind of figured out at the end of the last fight how to beat him. And then at the beginning of this fight and all throughout, it was clear, like, Fury's got this. It was like Wilder wasn't in the fight whatsoever. And it was really crazy to me because it was one of these big fights, a lot of hype, big rematch. It's a Saturday night. It's in Las Vegas. The world is watching. Everybody's picking Deontay Wilder. And then here comes Tyson Fury. And he just, like, it's not even close.
No,
he just destroyed Deontay Wilder. And he winds up finishing him in the 7th round. Like, it was really impressive to me that this was supposed to be kind of a tight fight. And it was nowhere near tight. And it wasn't like, Fury was supposed to do this. Wilder was supposed to be the one to score the knockout, and Fury comes in, boom, boom,
the fifth,
and he's just like knocking him down, and then knocking him out.
Well, the loser of this fight had a clause in the contract that could ask for an immediate rematch, and that's what Deontay Wilder decided to do this week. He decided to go up into that clause. So we should see that rematch happen soon. Wilder also went on to make some excuses. He said that the weight of his costume was the thing that caused him to have burnt out legs. But some people went on Twitter and found an interview of Wilder with Joe Rogan from 2018 where he says, I train with a 45-pound vest just to make sure. So, those are excuses. In the end, Tyson Fury won. We're probably going to see the rematch. I read that they sold around 900,000 pay-per-views, which is decent.
Not bad.
But
not Mayweather.
I'll tell you what, though. 900,000 pay-per-views, both guys still made $25 million. So
for sure.
Like UFC, that pay grade should be like a little better. But
you say that, Fred. You say that, Fred. But how much did the guys on the undercard make? How much did the co-main event?
Exactly.
How much did everybody else on that pay-per-view make? Because you buy that pay-per-view, okay, and I'd say 80% of the money is going to Wilder and Fury, whereas the guys on the undercard, they're fighting hard. They're not making that kind of money anywhere near. And, the UFC...
Completely agree, but there's not $25 million being spent on the undercard of a UFC fight.
No, for sure.
The money might be distributed more evenly.
Conor's making that type of money. He's making more than that. Conor's making more than that in the UFC right now. Like
Conor's the exception, but guys like
what did Conor say his last fight was going to be 150 mil or something? Like, it's crazy.
Like guys like John Jones and all that should be making that type of money.
The 25 million, yeah. I think the ceiling in boxing is definitely a lot higher, but the basement in boxing is definitely a lot lower too.
It's because
that's
of the promotion as well, right?
The low level fighters on a UFC card are making more than the low level fighters on a boxing card. I think the money is kind of spread around a little bit better in MMA, but for sure, the top level in MMA is not what it is in boxing. And that's why you see MMA fighters, when they reach the plateau, the ceiling of what you can make in professional mixed martial arts, they want to go over to boxing so they could really make the ceiling of what you can make as a combat sports athlete. You saw it with Conor McGregor. He got to the top level. He reached a level that he couldn't go any higher in the UFC. So he crossed over to boxing. He made more money boxing, and now he's worth more. So when he goes to the UFC, he can make that type of money in the UFC. Whereas other guys, like Stipe Miocic, he wants to fight Tyson Fury. Why does he want to fight Tyson Fury? Well, because he's reached the kind of top level that he's going to make in the UFC. He's a heavyweight champion of the world, and he recognizes he's only got a short window to make that big money, so he wants to go over to boxing where the ceiling for big money is way higher. So Stipe, he sees that, and he wants it, but not everybody's going to be able to cross over like Conor did, right? It's a kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
Yeah, but sorry, Freddie, did you have something to say? I was going to say this, is that's the thing with MMA and the UFC. You can get guys like Stipe or Conor or Israel or a Bones Jones that decides, I'm going to go into boxing, and they're going to be able to fight the top boxers in whatever division. That doesn't happen if boxing goes over to MMA. They won't get the pay scale, or they won't fight that main card.
I disagree.
I disagree also.
You're going to get a Tyson Fury to go fight who?
If Tyson Fury comes to the UFC, he's automatically one of the top paid heavyweights in the sport.
Do you think?
And he'd be dangerous.
He'd probably be the top heavyweight paid.
We've seen that a lot. It's just a different sport, guys. And what I'm saying is that
For
the
sure,
UFC
it's a different sport.
The UFC allows a top athlete to go into boxing, to go into WWE.
They did that once. They would not do it again. They won't allow Miocic to go to boxing. It's not the same thing.
It's going to happen.
It won't. No, it won't, and I don't want to see it.
You know what? It's going to happen. And we're going to probably see maybe even a John Jones at some point that wants to go into boxing. He said it. But what it comes down to is
you don't respect boxing.
I love boxing.
A lot of guys say it, okay? The Diaz brothers have talked about it. Anderson Silva has talked about it. Nobody's doing it. Only Conor has done it. And for you to come here and say
that's because Dana allowed it.
It's going to happen more and more. We're going to see.
Dana said it himself.
Actually, I'll give you a second example of a guy that did it. Andrei Arlovsky. How did that go? I mean, he fought a bunch of tomato cans on shitty cards. I mean,
yeah, but his MMA career in the end wasn't that great either. You're allowed to. We're past 10 minutes.
That S word is not allowed.
We're still on the radio.
Oh yeah, that's true, Freddie. That's usually an AJ thing.
Take it easy, guys.
I'm rubbing off on Freddie. But anyways, back to the Wilder
Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Is that the fight you want to see? No. I know it's the fight we're going to see, but honestly, I feel like Tyson Fury just beat this guy twice.
What we want to see is this: a big fight. You have the two best heavyweights in the world. You have AJ. Anthony Johnson.
Joshua.
Okay. I'm sorry, Anthony Joshua, and you've got Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
These two guys fighting for the WBC belt. Now that's going to be a moneymaker. That'll make over 1 million pay-per-views. That's what people want to see. But unfortunately, it probably won't happen right away because of the contract, and they'll have to have that rematch, which is probably going to be another massacre by Tyson Fury.
They were saying that Joshua sold out Wembley Stadium against, I forget, a tomato can some time ago. And they were saying if Fury and Joshua fight in Wembley Stadium, that's probably going to be the highest gate ever. And then add the pay-per-view to that, and it's going to be huge. So, yeah, that's the smart fight for them to make in boxing. But the contract says that Wilder's probably going to be the next guy.
But yeah, and I think he probably will be, but I think Fury is going to beat him again, and then it'll be at a point where, okay, it'll be time for Anthony Joshua. Joshua, got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, but then he came back and he beat him by decision. Joshua's very good, but I think Tyson Fury beats him too. After what I saw from,
you think so?
Yeah. After what I saw from Tyson Fury on Saturday night, I
looks so relaxed. He
looks so good.
Before the fight, he's dancing, he's having
crazy.
fun.
He's talking a lot of smack and talking about when I win, I'm going to be doing cocaine and $30 hookers.
What are you talking about?
You didn't hear that comment? He actually said that. So that's your heavyweight champion. And on top of the fight, I remember I was looking at one point and I'm like, I think this guy just licked this guy's neck and the blood. And then it was confirmed that he did. So this is what you got. You got a Tyson Fury that really is not very well liked.
BJ Penn did it before, man.
Oh, come on. He's a wild man.
He's a wild man.
You don't like him singing after the fight? That was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, he was singing too. So American
he's great.
Idol, congratulations.
Oh, he goes up against... He goes to the WWE, he beats Braun Strowman. The guy is fantastic. He's a character.
No, he's a character. But going honestly, up against Joshua is going to be a different story.
But his next pay-per-view is going to sell a lot.
Absolutely.
The Irish people get behind their stars, and now now Tyson Fury might be the biggest Irish star out
True.
there. Like,
Yeah.
he's competing with McGregor for that title, I think, as
Biggest what?
Irish star.
Like the
Tyson
fame-
Fury is he's
What?
British. He's not Irish.
He's
No,
Irish.
but
Tyson Fury?
Pretty sure he is.
I thought
No,
he was
he's
from
not.
the UK.
He's from Manchester.
He's a Manchester fan.
He's British. Tyson Fury. He's
Yeah,
not
but
Irish.
regardless, he's like Freddie. Maybe
he's from
Wally loves
Manchester,
him, I
England.
don't know. But regardless, he's got a point. Like the UK market, maybe the Irish market as well is
Okay,
behind him.
Ireland is not in the UK.
I know.
You
but
need to
like,
get that through your head.
I know.
And there's a lot of
Wally's already
history there.
explained that to us.
Has he explained it to you properly? Because you still
Well,
don't
we
seem
had
to
we
get
had
it.
a lot of proper 12
Because you
that
say,
night, so I can't
oh,
remember.
Ireland, the UK, it's different.
But he does have Irish roots. I gotta.
There you go, Freddie.
Maybe, but he's from Manchester, England, just like Michael the Count Bisping.
As an amateur, Fury represented both England and Ireland.
There you go, Freddie. Bravo.
He does have
Bravo,
Irish
Freddie.
roots.
Okay,
Thank
so
God for
yeah,
Google.
but
Well, look,
I don't know.
So Freddie's right.
okay, Freddie's right. Sure, Fred's right. He's Irish.
But look, if we have to see
We're all
another
Irish.
fight-
When St.
I
Patrick's
mean, I've
Day.
seen him with
March
the
17th.
flag before. That's why I'm saying it.
Remember, I
But
did
then again, he dressed up as like Apollo Creed for one of his fights. I love Tyson Fury.
Yeah, I just know that he's from Manchester. I didn't know he had Irish roots. I don't know.
Manchester United.
Sorry, Wally.
It's okay.
I don't want to offend any
I don't know
of
if Wally actually like supports like Tyson Fury, but you know what? Look,
All
let's
right.
give him credit. You know, in the end, he brought,
UFC, Norfolk, Virginia.
oh, we're talking about that now.
Yeah, man. I want to get
I think we're
the.
gonna get more into the Wilder thing, how he gets outboxed and all that kind of stuff against all his opponents.
Well,
But okay,
what do you want to say? Wilder hits hard. He
Yes.
wasn't able to hit Fury. He got totally outboxed. Fury's a great fighter. They're gonna fight again. Fury's gonna win. You think Wilder's gonna win the next time? You picked him this time. What do you think, AJ? You seem to really dislike Tyson Fury
No,
as
I
a man.
don't. What?
Yeah, you're like, see, this is what you got. This guy, he's all this. You don't like him.
I do like.
You're a
him. What are you gonna
hater.
say? Another like
You're
John
a hater.
Jones
Yeah,
hater,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Tyson
yeah,
Fury
yeah.
hater,
Anybody that says they like doing cocaine, apparently, you don't like, eh?
and $30 hookers that he says. But the thing-
$30?
$30. Freddie, back me up on that. Freddie,
I
where are
mean,
you?
he just made $25 million. You would
I
think
know.
he'd be able to afford
So
something.
I just feel like saying, like, yes, he was born in Manchester, but both of his parents are Irish.
Okay,
Whoa,
sorry.
Freddie, once again, bravo.
But he's like a traveler, right? So aren't they like nomadic almost?
That's why he's called the Gypsy King. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
because he's a traveler.
I
He's
mean,
a,
he was born premature and weighed like a pound,
What?
which is
What?
crazy.
271 pounds at 6'9".
it just shows you, all you little guys, you can always grow up to be big like Tyson Fury. Okay.
Except for tattoo on what was that show called? Fantasy Island, but that's a different story. You wouldn't know that, Dave.
How
that's past
old
your-
are you?
You don't know Fantasy Island, Freddie? You know Fantasy Island?
I mean, his
Tattoo.
mother's from Belfast. How much more Irish you want him to be?
Jesus, that's where Walter's from.
I'd like him to be more Irish because Belfast is Northern Ireland.
Oh, okay.
Belfast, I think Belfast is part of the UK.
Oh no, Wally's from Dublin. I apologize.
Yeah,
It's true.
Belfast is not even proper Ireland. It's Northern Ireland. To me, Ireland is Ireland, not Northern Ireland. Well, I mean, Northern Ireland is
You just
Ireland.
Insulted the northern.
No, I'm just saying
Irish people, Dave.
it's two different countries. Well, it's two different parts of, it's two different countries, right?
We'll have Wally like settle all
Yeah, we
this.
have, but Ireland. I mean, I'm not saying Belfast is bad. I'm not saying Northern Ireland is bad. But I'm saying it's not Irish. It's not proper Irish because Irish is like Dublin and Ireland.
and proper 12.
I'm saying Belfast is not in Ireland,
Okay.
right?
I don't know, Dave. We'll have to get like an opinion from our Irish fans. By the way, talking about Ireland, are we going to be doing anything for St. Patrick's Day?
No.
We're not going to be walking in the parade of Montreal Ringside Report
I mean,
representing?
I have,
Come on, Dave, let's do it.
unlike most Canadians, I have 0% Irish blood in me. So,
I was at the parade for
you know what?
last year.
You know what's
the
weird?
last-
We're probably like
decades
one of the
past.
few 3-man radio shows in Canada with 0% Irish blood on the show, right? Like, Fred, you got no Irish in you, right?
Not that
If you
I
did
know
like
of.
a 23andMe, like a genealogy test, you'd have no
Let's
Irish
order
in
one
you.
of those like tests.
Yeah, let's do
it.
Because AJ, I'd
Let's
say
do it
I'd say you're
online.
mostly Italian, right?
I don't know, man.
In your ancestry?
Well, we have like blue eyes and redheads in our family, so
'Cause
I'm telling you,
I know,
there was a lot of
'cause-
pillaging going on in my history.
Oh, okay. Well, both my parents did one of those tests.
And what happened?
There was no Irish in either
What
of
did
them.
you have mostly?
There was a lot of different stuff. There was some
There's gotta be a
France.
majority.
There was some Vietnam. There was some Russia. There was a little bit of Spain, Fred. A little bit of I'm like 1%.
You know what? We should do that, Freddie. Let's do it, and we'll do it on air.
We should all do a genealogy test on the air.
That'd be cool,
it is in the United Kingdom, Belfast. Belfast, Northern Ireland, part of the UK. Ireland, Dublin, that stuff, not part of the UK. Okay? Different places.
So you're trying to say there's no leprechauns in Belfast?
I'm saying there's no leprechauns at all anywhere because that's a made-up thing.
Fighting Irish.
Tyson Fury, kind of. So, who do you have as the new flyweight champion on Saturday night? Joseph Benavidez or Davison Figueiredo?
Figueiredo.
I'm going with Benavidez. Benavidez is the man. He's been the man at flyweight for so long. He loses so seldom. He beat Henry Cejudo. He's a fantastic fighter. I think he's going to do it. I think he keeps
improving every year. He's always been a
finally going to become flyweight champion at 35 years of age. Like I said, he fought for the first ever flyweight title fight. It was vacant back then in 2012, and it's vacant once again in 2020. 8 years later, this guy is still at it. And like, how impressive is it that he was the number one contender in the flyweight division 8 years ago, and he's still the number one contender in the flyweight division? That is crazy.
He's always been a contender in that division. Now, I'm going to pull for him. I hope he wins the title. He's been a veteran there for a long time, so, it'd be nice for his career. So I'll go Joseph Benavidez. Hopefully he wins.
Yeah, I think...
But let's not forget Figueiredo has heavy hands.
He's a sentimental pick, I think, Benavidez, but he is also the odds makers pick. Odds makers like Benavidez as the favorite, -140. Figueiredo +120, the dog. So not a huge favorite here, Benavidez, but slight favorite. People think he's going to win. I think he's going to win. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter, the more experienced fighter, obviously. And I think he's still a very talented guy, still in his prime, and still very effective. So...
And he's a very nice guy.
And I don't know that much about Figueiredo, but from what I've seen,
he's a trash talker.
From what I've seen, he's good, but I think Benavidez is a little bit better. But we'll see on Saturday. I think the fight's going to be really good. I think the fight itself is going to be really fun to watch.
Look, and it's a crazy fight. Like I was saying, Figueiredo has heavy hands. You've got Benavidez, who's just got better over the years. Hard to hit. The only thing that can happen is that if there's a slip up and whatnot, and Figueiredo tags him, he might go out. But if you look at the two characters of both fighters, I mean, you got Benavidez, who's just a nice guy, like talking a lot of positive things about Figueiredo, and you look at Figueiredo on his trash talking, and he's looking out to maim this guy. Like he's out and like saying, "I'm gonna kill Benavidez and I'm gonna cripple him." And
that's not cool.
So he's coming into this fight to really win, but really destroy this guy. So
I don't like that.
Is he hungrier than Benavidez? He's 32 years old. Benavidez is 35. It's not a huge difference.
I don't like when guys come out and say, "I want to hurt this guy. I'm going to kill him.
Strange.
I'm going to do things like that." I don't like that. I don't like that type of stuff.
I don't like it either. Yeah,
it's a little bit mean. I like guys who come in and just say they want to win. Like Damian Maia, he would always say, "I'm trying to win without hurting my opponent." Like that to me is
class. He's a
classy, nice thing to do, respectful, and that's what he did. He came in, he put the choke on you, you tapped out, you walked out without a scratch or bruise on you, and Maia won. He got his money and he went home happy.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you out right now.
Why?
I mean, you don't like when Conor McGregor says a bunch of stuff,
but he doesn't say. I mean, he doesn't say he's gonna
cripple.
He doesn't say he's gonna kill somebody or permanently injure them. He says
steal his soul.
Yeah, steal your soul. I mean, there's no such thing as a soul. You can't do that. The worst thing Conor says,
Blasphemy,
physically,
Dave.
he's like, "I'm gonna knock his head clean off." Like, obviously, he's not gonna do that. No one's ever knocked somebody's head off in the UFC.
Well, but Figueiredo's not gonna kill him, man.
Well,
but he's
it's
harsh
possible. If he's saying I'm gonna leave him laying, I'm gonna leave him unconscious. I don't know, man. It seems a little bit rough. It's like you're already fighting him. Like, I get it, dude.
And that's the thing with the flyweight. We were talking earlier about how.
And then if he doesn't do it, he looks real dumb.
Well, let's hope he doesn't do it.
I'm still waiting for Mike Tyson to eat Lennox Lewis' children. So.
Well, he came close to eating.
Oh no, he did that. He ate one of them.
Part of him. He ate his ear.
Yeah.
But let's be honest.
That was Holyfield.
Oh, that was Holyfield. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
How did you forget that?
I forgot about it.
How did you forget?
All three of them were in the ring this weekend.
How could?
Hey, did you see that?
Yeah. How did you forget that it was Holyfield's ear he bit off?
Forgot.
How?
I just
if somebody bit up your ear.
That's something I will never forget.
If somebody bit your ear, could you be friends with him?
Sure, you can. I guess.
Like it'd be.
Think about it.
I mean, if it was Mike Tyson, he's a pretty cool guy. Probably. If it was Mike Tyson, I'd forgive
He
him.
was in The Hangover. He punched out one of those
Mike's
guys.
had a hard life. It's not
So,
his fault.
would you let him give you a hug?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be scared, like,
No.
friendly
He's not
hug.
going to bite his ear now. Mike's a nice guy.
What?
He's got a weed company. He sells weed now.
But he was giving out the
Free weed
championships
to
at
people?
PFL. Wasn't he the guy giving out the
Maybe.
belts at PFL?
It's just
So you
ceremonial.
got Mike Tyson, but that's pretty cool.
Okay.
At least Tyson's still there.
So Felicia Spencer is a gigantic favorite taking on Zara Farron in the co-main event. Minus 810. What's the deal? Wow. So maybe bet on Zara Farron just for the fun of it because you never know. Ion Kutalaba plus 180 the dog taking on my man Magomed Ankalaev. I'm looking forward to that fight very much. I like Ankalaev. I think he's got a bright future in the UFC.
But didn't you say he's the guy that
I think-
eventually will beat John Jones?
I think he could be. I think because he's 27, because he's so well-rounded, because he seems to have the right type of training behind him. I feel like in the next 2 to 3 years, he could get to a title shot level. And if he gets there in the next 2 to 3 years at the age of 30, and then John Jones is like 35, 36, this could be the guy. Because I don't think anybody's taken John Jones out. I think the only person that's taken John Jones out is going to be Father Time. Father Time is undefeated, and I think the only thing that's going to really stop John Jones is age. He's just going to get to a point where he ages out. He's going to be a little bit, old.
But it's showing
But I think, once he hits 35, 36, it happens to all athletes, right? You kind of slow down. The reaction time isn't the same. And I don't think it's going to be an opponent. I think it's just going to be, John Jones is 35, and he's fighting this 29-year-old kid who's just kind of a newer version, and that's what's going to take out John Jones. It's not going to be Dominic Reyes in a rematch because there's only 2 years age difference. I think if John Jones is going to lose, it's going to be to a guy 5 or 6 years younger than him, and I'm looking at Magomed Ankalaev. He's 5 years younger than John Jones. In 3 to 4 years, I think he's got a shot.
I don't see John Jones losing. I don't want to.
Not even at 36-year-old John Jones?
Not for
Come on,
right
man.
now.
Not for, but he's 32 right now.
But let me tell you this example. He has Greg Jackson in his corner, and look how GSP did his career. I think John Jones and GSP have a lot of similarity where John Jones is going to be smart, and he's not going to take a lot of damage. Fight by fight, he's going to be smart where he's going to protect himself. And I just see him like he's a better fighter. Plus, he has the brain. He's not like the type of guy that says like I'm gonna go exchange blow for blow in the middle of the cage with somebody. He beats you with his intellect, with his game plan. So I got John Jones being a champ for a very long time.
Freddie,
You can
guys,
say that though, Fred, but we really don't know.
No, we know the truth
No,
here.
but we don't know what GSP looked like in his mid-30s. We really don't, because GSP, when he stopped fighting in November of 2013, I'm trying to do some quick math. He's 38 right now. 2013 was roughly, say, 7 years ago. Let's say 6. He was like 32. So he was John Jones' age right now. But George at 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, we don't really know. All we know is the George St-Pierre that came back in 2017, 2-3 years ago here. So George was like, 36? Yeah. But he's fighting Michael Bisping, who's kind of, long in the tooth as well, right? And Bisping was basically retired by the time he fought George. He fought one more time after fighting George, and then he retired from the sport.
And
so
I think he got knocked out.
You
on his
could
last
say
fight.
that, Greg Jackson and longevity and this and that, but that didn't really happen with George, because by the time he was 32, he basically retired at 32. He came back for one fight, but let's be honest
he
here.
looked good, Dave.
When George was 32, 33 years old, he was done in the sport. Done.
True.
He looked great. He was still the best. He was still the world champion. But let's not say that George was still dominant in his mid-30s. He wasn't fighting.
Well, I mean, John Jones took his time off earlier with all his different suspensions and all that. I'm just saying he has a lot of mileage in him left. Like I don't see John Jones slowing down or anything. Yeah, and I think as he gets older, he's fighting smart. Where these fights are going like 1, 2, like a couple of fights been going to decision recently for John Jones. That's not his record in front of me, but. He doesn't get a lot of damage. The fight goes 25 minutes, and John Jones looks great. Other than that Gustafsson fight, tell me where he's really been.
Even the Dominic Reyes fight, and I know you guys I'm bringing it up, and you're talking about
he
legendary
John.
But what type of damage did he take? He got hit.
He couldn't even sit down at his post-fight conference, and he couldn't stand up.
So he got kicked in his leg a little bit. That's not that. You know what?
But look.
in a
You know
couple
what I
weeks,
said
in a
about
couple of weeks, the bruises heal. He's totally fine. That's
Right.
not wear and tear of a fighter. The wear and tear of a fighter is taking shots to the head, and John Jones is not taking shots to the head.
Well,
he's not.
he got shots to the body, and that's how you break down John Jones for the win.
Oh,
and I
boy.
believe that Dominic Reyes won that fight.
I know
like a
you
lot of
do.
people
That's
thought.
okay.
So that's
But that's not the
difference.
point. That's not what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is I don't think Dominic Reyes is going to beat John Jones when John Jones is 30, 32 or 33 or even 34. But I think that a guy who's, 5 or 6 years younger than Jones in 4 or 5 years might be able to beat him. I think the only time John Jones will lose is because he's slowing down athletically because he's in his late 30s. That just happens to everybody.
Right.
I think John Jones is going to be undefeated until he's at least 35.
I mean, we saw that
so
with
we've got
Anderson Silva. I
3
agree
more
with you.
years of John Jones undefeated at light heavyweight minimum. Fred might be right. John Jones may be undefeated well into his 40s. Who knows? Who knows if he's going to fight that long? But I think that at a minimum, by the 35, John Jones is still going to win. Past that, hey man, this is pro sports. Things start to go south. On the other side of 35, let's be honest, man. Not a lot of guys in MMA have a lot of success.
Well, and that's it. Like, what do you do at that point? Do you want to leave as one of the greatest fighters of all time without a loss? Maybe Jones.
Why not?
I think he should do that.
He's already one of the greatest of all time.
He is, but you look at guys like Anderson Silva that was considered one of the greatest of all times, and he carried it on a little bit further than he should have when he could have retired.
He's
and
still
become,
considered one of the greatest.
But you know what? It got tarnished, Fred. It got tarnished.
Well, the drug test hurt and the losses hurt as well. But that's besides the point. Guys, I want to talk about the Felder fight from last week. We're running short on time here. We're overtime once again. The Felder-Dan Hooker fight last week in Auckland, New Zealand. Hooker's from New Zealand. He took home the decision. It was a close fight. I thought Felder won. Khabib went on Twitter. He thought Felder won. It was a split decision that went Hooker's way. I don't know. I didn't agree with the decision.
I think I gave it to Hooker, but look, it was a close fight. In the end, when it's a close fight, it doesn't always go the way you want. I think you could disagree, but you can't get mad with that decision. I think.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I disagree with it, but I'm not outraged. I kind of get it. I kind of get it, but at the same time, I think if that fight was fought in the United States, Felder probably wins. That fight was in New Zealand. I think it helped.
Probably it did.
No? Come on,
Probably
guys.
it did.
I think the big story of that card, other than the main event, which was a really good fight, for me, was Yan Xiaonan beating Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Now,
Dominated her.
Yeah, completely dominated her. And Karolina is a very tough fighter. She's been in the division for a while. She's been in the UFC for a while. But here comes Yang Xiaonan, another Chinese MMA fighter in the strawweight division, and she's looking tremendous. She's jacked.
She looked huge.
She looked amazing, and now she's 12-1 as a pro. She remains undefeated in the UFC. She's now won 5 in a row. There's something going on with the women, the 115-pound women coming out of China. The champion right now, Zhang Weili, and now here comes Yang Xiaonan, also looking incredible, beating Karolina. And, Karolina is very good. I was surprised that she was just dominated in that fight.
She didn't look good, coming in. She looked a lot skinnier than I expected. There was something off, but in the end, Asian MMA is really starting to grow in the women's
Chinese
division.
MMA.
The Chinese
It's
MMA.
China.
And the thing is with the
Not
UFC,
Japan like it used to be.
No, it's China. And the thing is that the UFC has invested millions and millions of dollars to develop the UFC Performance Center. So the Performance Center, Performance Institute, there's something going on there. Something, just like the levels of MMA fighters for women's division in China, they have a place to go to, and the investment is obviously paying off. So, I think it's in Shanghai, the institute, if I'm not mistaken. But the UFC is doing something right.
Look,
obviously
there's talent coming out of there. With that said, Karolina, she's been losing a lot recently, and you mentioned her attitude before the fight. She was a little too much smiling. I felt I couldn't feel like she was ready for a fight. I thought right away I was looking at her and she always looks friendly and all that. But yeah, nice win. but Carolina's been on a losing streak.
You're
also.
right. And, she started her career 10-0 as a pro. Since then, she fought for the title against Joanna, lost to Joanna in a pretty, one-sided beatdown. And since then, she's lost 6 of her last 8 fights.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
It changes you sometimes.
what
When you're
happens
undefeated and you have a loss, sometimes you don't come back from that.
And from there, you're fighting the elite. You're fighting Michelle Watterson. You're fighting Jessica Andrade, Felice Ehrig, Alexa Grasso. Those are all good fighters.
Claudia Gadelia.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
having tough fights. It's not easy. It's not been an easy road for Carolina. And then again here, Yan, let me get her name right. Yan Jiaonan. Super impressive.
Very impressive.
So I like that. I like seeing good fights here coming up in the UFC. And then next week, we've got some big fights. Yoel Romero challenging for the middleweight title against Israel Adesanya. It's the main event. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Zhang Wei Li, the women's strawweight championship, taking on the former champion, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And then some other fights on the card. I'm looking, and I don't know. Sean O'Malley's on the prelims. That's
Benil
cool.
Dariush.
Yeah, Benil
Alex
Dariush and Drakkar
Oliveira.
Klose.
Neil Magny. There's some good
That's
fights,
some
man.
pretty.
Good
Yeah, it's a
fighters.
nice card.
That's all right.
Yeah. We'll see if I'll be there.
Come on, Freddie.
Aw, what? All right, we're going to do a watch-along next week for the UFC show. Definitely check out our YouTube channel. Like the video. Leave a comment. When you subscribe to the channel, make sure to click the bell so you get notifications every time we're on. We're going to do an AEW Revolution watch-along coming up on Saturday. Dave and Johnny live. Check that out for the AEW Revolution preview this week. We're going to be previewing that. And then on Wrestling Uncensored, we're going to be talking about the new WWE Universal Champion, Bill Goldberg, beating The Fiend in Saudi Arabia. That was shocking stuff. And we're going to talk about the new champion, Goldberg, on the next episode of Wrestling Uncensored. All that available on our website, ringsidereport.net. Follow AJ on his things at Dan E. Bruck on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Fred at Freddy MMA, and you could follow me at Dave Simon MMA. That's
Pretty
it,
good, Dave. Yeah.
That's it. We're
Goldberg
good, right?
looks great, by the way.
Goldberg looks
Like,
terrible.
How old is he?
He's 53.
He looks awesome.
Looks terrible.
What are you talking about?
AJ,
You look better.
You look better.
And you're only 3 years younger.
Oh, you guys.
Yeah, well, a couple. Yeah, you're almost there, AJ. All right. Ringsidereport.net. Go there. It's the place to be. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690. For Freddie and AJ, I'm Dave. This has been Ringside Report.